Yo, what's up, guys? Hey, remember when I teased JT's mixtape? Well, this is it. So I thought the idea of having like a variety show, maybe show some of my videos, some of my friends' videos, and then obviously just videos that are interesting and basically kind of a free for all variety show. Well, it's here, and I got my buddy Demon Racers Bryan here, and we're gonna look at some videos and we're going to talk about them.
Yeah, we're just gonna give our opinions and share what we think on the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, and just because we show a video does not necessarily mean an endorsement or
that's good.
of the video. So obviously we're going to show videos that kind of like you guys share with your friends. Like Bryan and I, obviously, besides content creators, we're just like you guys. We watch videos, we send videos to each other, and we got lots of thoughts. And obviously during the day, we like either just give like emojis. So like today, we're actually going to talk about them, and sometimes we're going to share videos that we have not shared with each other before, and we're going to just watch them in real time. So just like you guys. So,
and we're going to share videos that you guys share to us because we get videos suggested by you guys all the time. And it's like, we don't have time to reply to all of them. So we're going to start sharing them and talk about them together and everybody can get their opinion.
If you got videos you guys want us to watch and review on this podcast, just let us know. And we'll try to, obviously, if we run out of things to look at, we'll definitely take advice for you guys.
Let's do it.
So anyways, without further ado, I got a couple videos I thought were pretty interesting. This is a good one because this fits right into our wheelhouse.
You never saw anything where I could feel right.
Stop eating that spun sugar.
You spoil your dinner.
Papa, we saw the Galapagos flood. Big waves came up and flooded the whole city. And when the water went back, it was all muddy and horrible, full of dead bodies.
Oh, look, the anything like it in the whole world.
We don't have to come here on a train or stay in a hotel. It's right in our own hometown. Grandpa, they'll never tear it down, will they?
Well, they'd better not.
I can't believe it. Right here where we live.
Right here in St. Louis.
That is very fascinating.
What did you think about that, Bryan?
Wow, what was that? When was that from? I wonder. Like, did you like? I can only imagine that. I thought that was Shirley Temple talking at first.
It sounded like, I don't know if that was Judy Garland. Let me look at
Dude, that's so fascinating. Yeah, because that's a really interesting thing. So while you're looking that up, I guess that was weird that they talked about the river flooding and then all the dead bodies, and it was almost like a social unaccepted norm that person that they were talking about, that she was bringing up that point. And it's like, that's a strange thing to bring up, honestly. Like, that's a really weird, like, what are they even talking about with that at all? And then they're talking about the buildings being so beautiful right in their backyard. Like, they'll never tear it down. What were they alluding to? Because they did tear them all down.
Yeah, it was called, so the movie was called Meet Me in St. Louis. And yeah, sorry, little girl, yeah, they will tear it down one day. Because they're just temporary buildings. Of course they're going to tear them down. Everyone knows that all that stuff is temporary. I mean, it is some kind of dystopian thing you're watching, right? Because it's like, yeah, knowing how this story really ends, and it's like, yeah, they're going to St. Louis, and I guess it's the World Fair in St. Louis, supposedly. What this seems like is propaganda.
Oh, totally, 100% propaganda.
Yeah, they'll never tear it down. And obviously, we know that they did, and they'll claim that because it was always meant to be torn down. But of course, like, it's funny, in that movie, for some reason, they didn't know that they were going to tear it down later.
I wonder if they had already torn down the buildings and then they were making an allusion, like a reference to the fact that they were torn down, or if they were going to tear them down and it was almost like propaganda. It was almost like marketing kind of ideal. It's like witchcraft. Like, hey, you know how they say things before that happens, right? So it's like one of those kind of moments where they like talk about it and they're like, they'll never tear it down because maybe there was like an argument going on in society for that moment that we need to tear down this building. You know what I mean? And then there's like, they put out this movie to try to like sway people in some regard or whatever. pretty
Well, yeah,
fascinating.
maybe maybe that's kind of the early, just like, yeah, they're trying to cover their tracks when people see, like, kind of like a lot of us, when you see the World Fair stuff being shared around, the pictures from like Chicago, St. Louis is obviously one of the best examples too. And when you first see it, you're like, what am I looking at? There's no way that's Chicago. There's no way that's St. Louis.
Yeah.
And then so they make a movie like this, and they said, oh yeah, by the way, that was a kind of fun thing they did back in the day. And yeah, the little girl was naive. Yeah, she didn't realize they weren't actually real buildings. They were made of plaster of Paris. Literally in my comments,
like the moon.
That's what I get. Plaster of Paris. Guys, in school, did you ever make stuff out of plaster in Paris? You couldn't make that for exterior use, right? Like, you couldn't make a building out of that because,
melt.
when it gets wet,
yeah,
it's
melt.
not. That's how comical it is. Like, it's always so funny the World
we still
Fair
have
stuff.
some of the buildings up, like in San Francisco. That big, there's still one of the structures are still there.
Yeah, it's like the Arts and Museum building, but it's funny. It's like it's the same thing in Chicago. That one of the buildings that was lasted was the same kind of. It was like the Palace of Arts. I think they're both called that in both Chicago and Paris. Yeah, and they're clearly not temporary buildings.
Yeah, no.
So, like, I think they want you to say. They might even say, and I'm not sure about both stories in this case, but they'll say they like this building so much they tore down the temporary one and they built a permanent one afterwards. Baloney. That's so stupid. They say the exact same thing. I guess it was in the Centennial. I think that was Centennial celebration in Tennessee. They built a Parthenon, and supposedly they tore down the temporary one, and then they built a real one, like a life-size one, like exactly the same size as the one in Greece, ancient Greece.
What?
They built one. You've never seen that, Bryan?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, we'll have to. Well, we're here, so
Another video.
We'll have to. I don't know if there's a video on that, but we'll have to pull this up. So let's see. I can't believe you never Yeah, let's see, Parthenon, and
I've seen the rebuilt one where they did the rebuilt giant door, and the giant door was open. I've seen that building, and it has that big massive door that they had to construct.
Yeah, but you haven't seen the one in Nashville though.
Maybe that is the one in Nashville. I've seen the inside of it. I didn't see the outside of it.
Yeah, this is like, dude, this is like completely insane if you've never seen this.
Yeah, show me.
Yeah, okay, let's see.
Oh,
all right,
wow.
so there you go. So there's the Parthenon, and if you see the people, like, you see how small that they are in that picture. And do you see this picture right here?
Whoa.
So that's inside of it. That thing's 30 feet tall.
What the heck?
Yeah,
is that? Why is it a chick?
Well, that's Athena.
Why do they have Athena holding victory?
Yeah, that's Nike.
Yeah, Nike.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look
What's
how
on
big
the
those
side?
columns are. Isn't that insane? So this is in Nashville. And we're told...
Why didn't they put Zeus there?
I think that maybe in the Parthenon they had Athena in it. I'm not sure which one that had because I think Zeus was one of the seven wonders of the world.
I think Zeus was inside the Parthenon at one point. Pretty sure.
I don't know. I mean, like, I can't keep up with these demonic deities.
There's so many of them.
Yeah. But yeah,
Wow.
But anyways, that point being is that is what they want us to believe, is that they built all these fairs between like the bison, the centennial ones from like both Philadelphia and Nashville, and then also the world fairs. They built temporary buildings, but sometimes they weren't temporary, or they were temporary, but they demoed the buildings and then they built them back made of stone when they felt like it.
Yeah, when they thought it was appropriate.
Whatever. I mean, like, if they could easily build them out of stone, it's like I said, it's incomprehensible that they would ever do that. Okay, so
let's see the next video. Let's do it again.
Okay, we got another one. Let's see. I have one that's this one is you're gonna like this one, Bryan. The fun part about the whole variety process is that we're going to show all kinds of different videos. This next video is nothing like the one I just showed. You see, you ever heard this conspiracy?
I'm going to tell you something. I've been spending my whole life with him thinking he can see. I know he can see.
You also challenged another great icon, not to a fight, but to a contest. And I want to make sure I have this right because I'm going to give you an opportunity to dispel a rumor here.
Okay.
Did you challenge Stevie Wonder to a basketball game?
I did. Okay, see, okay, what y'all don't know.
You were going to dunk on Stevie?
What y'all don't know, Stevie can see. Stevie can see. It's just an act.
He can see?
Stevie can see.
They might want to kick me out, yeah.
Yeah, so one of the great stories, for a couple of reasons in the book, is you let Stevie Wonder drive your snowmobile. Now, I would have to say, just the part of you owning a snowmobile would be enough for me.
I didn't own it. I was at the Caribou Ranch in Netherlands, and I was recording. It was thick snow, and Stevie wanted to go out in a snowmobile.
And Stevie went behind the wheel.
Yeah.
By himself.
By himself.
Stevie walks on stage, walks to me, looks me dead in my eye and says, Anthony, get me to a piano. I was like, Stevie, well, hell, if you just walked to me, you could have walked to the piano. He caught himself. He caught himself and had to play it off.
It's a true story.
It's a true story. So,
according to Shaq,
we lived in the building on Wilshire. So you park your car under the valet's down there. So I'm already in the building. I'm coming through the lobby. Door opens. It's Stevie Wonder. He comes in, says, "What's up, Shaq?" Presses the button. Hold on, it's true story. Presses the button, gets off on the floor, by himself, goes to his room. I went and called every person I knew and told them they believed me. No, bro, he got on the elevator. He's like, "What's up, Shaq? How you doing, big dog?" Got on there, and yes, he did. Yep, Wilshire Boulevard, yeah.
wow.
Yes.
But yes, I did challenge him to a game of one-on-one basketball for a charity event that he does for his son.
And who
for
won?
any city youth. He said, you know what, Anthony, I don't want to embarrass you one-on-one, so let's just do it free throws. And he won. He won.
He won?
Honest, he won.
Okay.
Stevie Wonder won.
So it's a long con.
Yes. I'm telling you, have him on the show.
We go out to the car. He says, "You sit on the passenger side. I'll sit on the driver's side." He goes in. He cranks the car up. He puts the tape in, right? And then he does this. And it starts driving back down the driveway.
Why Stevie wasting all that money on courtside seats?
He says he likes to feel
I'm not going to let you say
vibrations
this. If this
on his
comes
feet.
up on TV today, you're going to be muted to the Stone Age. I'm not right? going to say it on
Yeah.
TV. I'm just saying that there's a building list of evidence that maybe, just maybe, Stevie ain't blind.
Catches the mic right there.
Stevie can see. It's just an act.
He definitely got the microphone right there. So I mean, that's definitely. I feel like the catching of the microphone. I think that says it all right there. You know, but it's interesting that nobody that was blind would even. I mean, like especially on a concert stage where people are singing and dancing, making all kinds of noise, you would have to only be able to catch something like that with a visual cue.
You know what? You know the thing about it is so. If you guys don't know, Stevie Wonder supposedly was born blind. Right? He was like, I think he was premature or something like that. And yeah, so like he could never see. Oh, so like
Supposedly.
Think, like, yeah. Well, again, what we're told is that he could never see. So the idea that he'd be a big basketball fan, why? You know what I mean? Like really, why of all the sports basketball? Because again,
Let alone be good at throwing free throws.
right. Like,
I mean, like that. I mean, maybe he's exaggerating. Maybe he's lying. Maybe he is telling the truth.
well, it seems like again, like probably a lot of people probably thinking they're sitting at home saying, "This is insensitive." So okay, so why are they out there saying it though? It's funny because it's like it's obviously not one guy saying, it's not one comic doing a bit. It's like, I mean, the story from Shaq was cracking me up because it is like, because he's obviously laughing because it's like, it makes no sense. And he was saying he called everyone afterwards. It's like the guy walks in the elevator, hits the button to go up to his floor, says hi to Shaq.
Yeah, that's so that you gotta like, so clearly it's a long con, but it's, you know, it's not surprising though, because the way the elite circles work and the way I mean, like they're conning everybody all the time. I mean, that Stevie Wonder being a long con, being this should just give you more evidence. The fact that every celebrity and every person in the industry that's on top up there is making jokes of you. They're fooling you. They're playing tricks on you. They're doing witchcraft on you. They're running spells on you. And they believe in a bunch of occult, and a bunch of them are like being gay with one another and being debaucherous and like Diddy.
that escalated quickly, Brian. On the
that's literally the truth. I don't know if you can say that on there, but hey, you know.
Well,
but
you
anyways,
know, the thing that I thought, again, it's more proof that like it's all a lie. It's like every bit of it is. I mean, it's like what can we believe that they do now? Like what can we believe? The funny thing is, you know what I made me think of course, because I always have a movie reference in mind. Did you see The Prestige, Brian?
Yeah.
You know, so when Christian Bale is talking to Hugh Jackman and he's going in there talking, so I guess there's like I'm not sure if he was a Chinese magician, but he had this act where he did like he could make the like a bowl with like a fish bowl. With water in it, fish swimming around, little aquarium, disappear, and he bring it back.
Put it between his legs.
Yeah, and so this guy, like, they were like wondering how he did the trick, but he always had a fishbowl between his legs, so he walked around like a crippled person all the time, just so he could do this one trick. That sounds like a guy pretending to be blind his whole life.
That sounds pretty interesting to me.
I mean, what if The Prestige was really about Stevie Wonder is a fraud, or he's so devoted to this one trick that really is like because that's what he's basically saying. It's like that's what the movie's about. It's like these people how much they're willing to sacrifice for the fame and all the things that go around with what they want to do. Obviously, it was like in Christian Bale's character, like he sacrificed basically his brother toward the one part, but at one point, like one of the Christian Bale. Sorry, spoilers. Christian Bale had a twin, and they did this bullet catching trick, and it was a real bullet, and it blew off one of his fingers. So the other brother, in order to keep the act up, had to saw his finger off.
So terrible.
So like, but that, I guess that's the point, is like that it's magic. Like that's the point. What they're saying is like, it's not actual magic. The magic is the illusion. It's like, it's the lengths they're willing to go to deceive. Is that what's happening with Stevie Wonder? And it's like, to what level? I mean, like for what purpose? I mean, it could be just for fame. It could be for, imagine that if you like actually achieved all the things he did and you had to pretend to be blind all the time.
Dude, that's like a whole nother level.
That's so crazy, right?
Dude, that's literally that's like the next level. And that's funny because it's like they totally, I mean, they're doing this, they're running an act on everybody always. So, you know, they've been running an act on us. So yeah, it's not too surprising, really.
Yeah, it's kind of like maybe they just do it just to say that they can.
Yeah, all right, literally.
All right, I've got another one, Brian.
To see how stupid people are and be like, oh, look, we can get away with doing this to people.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have their reasons, but I think that, again, the whole thing is like maybe it's just the fact that they can rub it in our faces whenever they want to.
Yep.
All right, Brian, you're gonna like this one.
All right.
You'll have strong opinions about this video.
I think Kanye is a clone. I wholeheartedly believe what I'm about to say. I think there are clones, and I'm going to tell you why. Remember, he was really talking a lot. The cabal didn't like that, you know? The Illuminati, the cabal, they did not like how much he was saying. He was calling a lot of people out, and he said, if I go away and I come back and I look different, that is not me.
If I ever went anywhere, we know why.
What the f happened, he was gone
Well,
for a little while.
he did
No,
that
hold
because
on.
he wanted to gain weight. I would do that too. I'm going to do that next summer.
Look at him. Compare old photos of him. It's not the same fucking person. It's not. Don't cancel me, Hollywood.
How do you think that these people would hide that, Kristin? If somebody tried to clone you, I would scream it from the top of the mountains like that's not Kristin.
You literally will get killed.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I believe this with every ounce in my body.
You think that you could make one of the biggest pop stars in the world just disappear and nobody would come forward?
The people who are going to come out and say something get killed.
There's weird shit happening, but some of it's too far.
What do you think about that one, Bryan?
You know, I have a very strong opinion on that one. So I would say that's, you know, I remember that video where he said, if I ever disappear for a while and come back, it's not me. Like he says this in a video.
He did.
Okay?
He did say that.
He did say that. And then he also, and so what happened? And this is exactly what happened. He disappeared for a little bit. When he came back, he was like totally different. And then he got married to this random chick. And you're just what is going on?
It kind of looks like his last chick.
Yeah. And it's just like really kind of what is going on. And his behavior changed subtly and his looks shifted just a tiny bit. I mean, that suit where you see his arms, he's wearing an Under Armour bodysuit. Actually, you could tell he's wearing like some kind of like,
I think
bulletproof vest.
I think that
it's
part is like
Shirt.
exaggerated. I don't think he was trying to, I don't think anybody was trying to pretend he had really big muscles now like that.
Well, yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, all I'd say is that it's, you know, when people get demon possessed, their personality changes. So like when he said, if I go away for a little bit and come back, it's not me, it's still his body. And so like, I think that's still Kanye's body. It's just not Kanye on the inside. And that's what he's really meant by that statement, because he knows what happens. Like when the people go away for a little bit, they do trauma-based mind control, severe trauma-based mind control, torture. Like they do terrible things to you and to children, and then force you to do those things to them. And there's like a breaking thing that happens in their mind under trauma-based mind control. So their mind like sort of splits, it cracks, and then all of a sudden what happens is your mind, you disassociate when you do that kind of stuff. And when you disassociate, you channel. And when you channel, you allow entities to come into you. And so people don't understand how disassociation sort of works. So trauma creates disassociation because you have to like separate yourself from this reality because it's so painful and so disturbing and so traumatic. You know, it's like kill you or kill this child, do something to this child, or we do something to you, you know, and there's like so many like mind torturous things that they do to these people that are beyond evil that you could possibly imagine. And their brain just can't handle it. And so it cracks. And then they go into a disassociative state. They like are no longer there. You ever seen a person where they like get something so trauma to them and they just kind of freeze up? Imagine that times 20. Okay. Imagine that, because the trauma was so profoundly disturbing that it would create like this very terrible gap mind space. And then they allow that empty void space of the person's mind. Then they put demons into it. And then the demon controls the person's body and takes over. And you'll see different characteristics, different mindsets, different attitude. Their facial features will change subtly when a demon possesses somebody. Like I've seen stuff about people's faces begin to subtly change. I know it sounds kind of random and weird, but yeah. So like Kanye is still Kanye's body, but he's wearing bulletproof vest armor, obviously, but he's literally got a demon in him. That's my theory, at least.
So a couple of things. It is interesting, like that he went from like doing an album like Jesus is King to creating his own porn brand. Like that's, that obviously actually kind of like goes with your idea that it could just be demons. Because like that is such a dramatic shift. My question is, when I watch that video, is Kristin Cavallari. Okay, so if you guys remember, she used to be on that show. What was it? Like, was it the that one reality show? Was that the OC or something like that, or was that what was that show? She was on some early reality show back in the day on MTV, and it was about like Southern California. Do you remember that?
No idea.
Well, anyways, she got probably in the industry, probably like, I won't say the most sleazy way, but it's like obviously reality TV on MTV. And then she married Jay Cutler, Chicago Bears quarterback, once on the Denver Broncos. Yeah, so she married him. So obviously she's got somewhat idea of like what goes on. I just kind of wonder is she saying this because it's true, and of course she seems like she's trying to sell a little bit much. It almost seems like that video. Does it seem like not totally real, like the way that it's almost like they're doing a bit?
Yeah, well, they want you to believe in clones. They want you to believe in the falsity, because the falsity of that is called a red herring. It's where you're intentionally deceived. So they want you to believe in cloning so that you don't recognize the truth, which is that it's demons. And so like they want to push that narrative. And I feel like she's, whether she's a part of it, she's pushing the narrative for sure. I mean, I think she's totally, the narrative is to believe in, because the reality is this, like we can clone stuff. And I worked with a geneticist. Okay. So like I worked with this and I looked into genetics and I dealt with this kind of stuff. And I've like dealt with all kinds of like people that involved in the cloning stuff like that. So the interesting thing is like you can clone somebody, but you can't speed them up to age. Do you understand? Like if you clone, like you can clone you. Like we can clone you, we can clone me, but it'll be born a baby and it won't become my age that fast. Like we can't progressively age something. Okay, so cloning is viable. Aging is not quite as viable yet of a technology. You know what I mean? Like who would want that development technology? You know what I mean? Like nobody wants that anyways. Like people want to do the reverse. They're trying to anti-age, right? So it's like the possibility that they clone him is ridiculous. Like there's a secondary possibility that they had another person that they've already made as a shield, and they did some surgery and they like replaced him and like, body disfigured the guy and replaced the guy with a different person that looks like him, close enough to him. Like that's a possibility. I wouldn't say, but to say that it was a clone is like silly, because there's that movie They Cloned Tyrone, right? What was that movie?
Oh yeah. And that was very interesting, the timing. So it had Jamie Foxx in it, and it was right around the time that Jamie Foxx had some kind of stroke or some kind of weird medical thing, and he was in the hospital for like 2 months or something.
Yeah.
And he came out looking different. Of course, like I said, at the same time, it was like that was weird. Of course, I attribute a lot to it. It's like, well, he doesn't look the same. It's like, well, he lost almost all his muscle mass if he was laying down for 2 months. He was even pale. And yeah, so if he looked the exact same, it'd actually be even weirder.
Yeah. Well, but
it was weird that movie came out right around the same time.
Right.
Because everyone was saying like, okay, so this is when the clone Jamie Foxx comes out afterwards. And like, so then he comes out looking different and people are like, oh yeah, I told you.
Yeah, right. But that's the thing. They want you to believe in cloning, because if you really believed in the truth, which is demons, that's like you're getting closer to the truth. You know what I'm saying? So like that, there's so many people in the industry that they work with demons. So as long as you believe anything other than demons, they don't really mind. Like it doesn't matter what you believe. Like, you know what I mean? As long as it's not demons, like they don't care. Because when you understand demons, bro, like the whole perspective is like, that makes freaking sense. Like everything makes sense.
Right. So what I was trying to think, though, for Kristin Cavallari, because, again, she was a reality star, and I'm not sure what she did really after that. I think she might have had another show after that. Then, obviously, being famous for being married to an NFL quarterback. Is it possible? I mean, obviously, she's got a podcast. I didn't know she had a podcast. Maybe she's saying these things because conspiracy chic is all the rage these days. And, like, hey, you start saying stuff like that, and there's the potential to go viral. And she's on the first episode of JT's mixtape. So is it possible that that's the reason she's saying these things, is because, hey, it'll be noteworthy that some person you kind of know says something a lot of people agree with. That's a little bit taboo.
Yeah, it's buying into the wave of popularity, it seems.
Yeah, we all us YouTubers and TikTokers have made conspiracy very cool.
There's something good to that's great, because look, we got the mainstream people copying us. It's awesome.
This is some inside baseball. This is Bryan and I's DM, so we'll see what videos Bryan's been sending me that I haven't watched yet.
Anyone could own. So you can have your own personal R2D.
The new Cybercab. Cybercab looks amazing.
I know.
I'm trying to get a ride.
Dude, me too.
And directly, I mean, this is
Elon, he's a techno king.
Optimus can talk?
Yeah. He also does sign language.
See that?
Yes.
Can you give a peace sign, Optimus? Can you do the peace sign? There he is.
I got another one.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Something that
There was, that was the last one. Was all I wanted.
Of course it did. The devil horns. Of course it did.
And he said, "Hell yeah!" Right when he.
Yeah, why wouldn't it? You know, I gotta be honest. When I see those robots, I kind of think those things are dumb. I mean, like we're not close to the Terminator movies. When I see that stuff, these things kind of goofy. There was actually another video I saw where they were talking to people, and it was holding a conversation. I mean, that's not too crazy because obviously I've been messing around with ChatGPT and I've been like asking it questions. So like you could have a conversation with ChatGPT. It's more like a more advanced Google is what I've noticed. Like, you know, you're Googling stuff and it's a tool. So obviously that thing could respond to questions you ask it. But I think a lot of people have said, I don't know if this is true, but some people are saying like those things could easily be like Kamala Harris, who has an earpiece, and somebody's like listening to the questions and somebody's speaking through it. Right.
Well, that's what they were. That's what they were at the party. Actually, they were.
They were
people. Yeah, there were people controlling those robots at the party. They found out, and so there was people, and that's why every Optimus had a different voice, and he responded differently, and it was like fully like because they had a person in a suit in another area remote controlling them.
Interesting.
But they didn't tell people that. They didn't tell people that.
Well, that's what I mean. But it's like it's the idea. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm getting at. That's the idea. Is that they want people to be nervous about this stuff. I mean, the funny part about this is I remember all the way back into Rocky IV. That was 1985 or something like that. 1986. Rocky IV is the one where, you know, like Rocky goes to Russia to fight Drago. But at the beginning of the movie, it's like, so it's kind of got this 80s, like the robots are like a new thing. And so they buy Paulie, Adrian's brother, this robot, and it gives him drinks and he teaches it to talk a certain way. That's what these things are doing. Obviously, that's not a big deal. It's thinking pull a lever and pour a beer. I mean, it's like, really? Like, okay, again, this is not that advanced. I mean, I'm kind of wondering why do they even need like the whole kind of face shield thing? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Cameras,
like, what is that
cameras.
even? Yeah, you could have a different way to put a camera though. It's just, I don't know. It just seems weird.
It's to humanize it because it's more relatable at that point.
Is that relatable?
Well, because it's like a humanoid looking thing.
Okay, which one should I show?
The Trump one.
The Trump one. Okay,
that one. What's that one? I don't know what it is, but
Donald Trump happens to be a real estate developer who is familiar with these issues. Here's what he said on the day of the attacks.
Well, it was an architectural defect. You know, the World Trade Center was always known as a very, very strong building. This was an unbelievably powerful building. If you know anything about structure, it was one of the first buildings that was built from the outside. The steel, the reason the World Trade Center had such narrow windows is that in between all the windows, you had the steel on the outside. You had the steel on the outside of the building, and you had big, heavy I-beams. That's why when I first looked at it, I couldn't believe it, because there was a hole in the steel. And this is steel that was, you remember the width of the windows in the World Trade Center, folks. I think you know, if you were ever up there, they were quite narrow. And in between was this heavy steel. I said, how could a plane, even a 767 or 747 or whatever it might have been, how could it possibly go through the steel? I happen to think that they had not only a plane, but they had bombs that exploded almost simultaneously. Because I can't imagine anything being able to go through that wall. Most buildings are built with the steel is on the inside around the elevator shaft. This one was built from the outside, which is the strongest structure you can have.
Donald Trump never spoke again on the subject, but he is not the only specialist to have expressed doubts. Donald Trump
Donald Trump is a conspiracy theorist, guys. It's like,
yeah, we can neither confirm nor deny his claims in this video. But as somebody who's worked on buildings, I would say that I've heard those clips from Trump before. I've never actually seen people show like the construction of the World Trade Center at the time, because that's pretty interesting, showing like just how thick those beams were. Like, and somebody like, this is just building 101. The bigger the building is, the stronger the steel needs to be. So a building that's over 100 stories high, the steel is going to be very, very, very strong.
Yeah.
And these buildings were built to, like, literally the architects said they were built to withstand the biggest plane like that they had in existence at the time.
Crashing into it. Yeah. Yeah, the architect said that. Imagine, guys, if you would imagine, I know the conspiracy theory of the World Trade Centers, guys, it's really important. You should look into it. In fact, Google. That's all I can say. That's all I can say.
You're good.
But here's the interesting part. Look, if you imagine stacking 5 iron, iron stoves, okay, like stoves on top of each other, right? And then you blow up one of the iron stoves at the top one. Is that top iron stove going to come crashing down and smash all the other 5 iron stoves below it? Like, that's not how that works. It doesn't just come crashing down and destroy all the ones below it. Like, that makes no sense. Absolutely no sense.
The physics do not make sense. And honestly, if you actually, go over to Rumble, watch some of the videos I've posted over there about that stuff where we can talk more freely about it. But yeah, I would say, when you think about it, the physics do not make any sense.
No,
anything that happened that day. But I do think it's very noteworthy that Donald Trump, for love him or hate him, even if you don't trust him, this guy did build a lot of big buildings in New York City. So he knows construction. He knows what it would take. And yeah, he's flown on a lot of planes too. You ever seen those planes that have got hit by birds and they got big dents in them? Yeah, and imagine him hitting
a bird.
Steel. Yeah, hitting steel like that. So what would happen to those planes? They would not completely disappear into the buildings.
No.
At least I don't think so. But obviously, again, this is just for fun, guys. Remember that.
Yeah.
We're just talking. Maybe we'll share. Maybe we share should we do one more video?
Yeah.
Let me see if we got another one. Brian sends me all this. Brian sends me all the stuff that I could never show on here. We get in trouble.
You know what we should do? I'll have to make one where it's just our channel. We
might have to start doing these on.
You can't show those ones for sure.
Yeah, I might have to. Maybe we'll just show one of my videos and we'll just end with this one. Brian, look, hey, check it out. I learned how to do a cool AI thing. Victor Von Doom was like a genius, one of the smartest guys in the world, and he attracted the attention of the U.S. government, and they brought him to America to do the science for them.
From Latveria, which was a place very much like World War II Germany.
So even though his science was almost always a version of some kind of witchcraft too. So you think about then his dad's name is
Werner von Doom.
Werner von Doom. That sounds an awful lot like Werner von Braun, who came to the United States during Operation Paperclip to run their space program. That is interesting.
That's way too close, man.
Okay, so Dr. Doom is older than the moon landing stuff.
Absolutely.
Dad's name is an awful lot like the guy who would not have been famous until after 1969.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a little bit creepy.
It's super weird, dude. And the crossover of being brought to the United States specifically for his scientific prowess. And they also knew by then that sect of Germans, they were notorious for dabbling in the dark arts.
He was actually buddies with Walt Disney. And obviously he was interesting in the biblical cosmology, is the main guy in NASA's space program to get to the moon, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote on his tombstone, famously, Psalm 19:1.
Right.
The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament is his handiwork.
That's the only thing on his tombstone. It's the only thing on his tombstone.
That is pretty good. That's definitely interesting.
Yeah, so Dr. Doom's dad is named Werner von Doom.
Bro, and he was written before Werner von Braun came over to America?
No, not before, but so Dr. Doom was introduced. I learned this. Dr. Doom first appearance was in the Fantastic Four in 1962. So then in 1964 they did the origin story of Dr. Doom. So they talked about his mom. Dude, his mom was a witch that made a deal with the devil.
Wow.
And then she got taken to hell, and that was kind of the driving force behind what Dr. Doom did, is that he learned that his mom was a witch, and he was trying to basically go to hell to get her back. And he was willing to do all the things to do it.
What?
It's,
wait, when did Werner von Braun come over here?
so,
What year?
well, I mean,
did
he would
over?
have came over here in the 40s, during the end of World War II. But what I was saying in the video was like, so Werner von, of course I was going to call him Werner von Doom. Werner von Braun would not have gained notoriety, like really mainstream, until after probably
the moon
1969.
landing. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, maybe his relation with Walt Disney would have make him a little more prominent. But I mean, at the same time, like, why would comic books make any reference to this person? Like how famous would he be? And if he was famous before then, what was the impetus for that? Was it all the weird stuff that happened over in Europe? That the real reasons they brought him here? Where so, like I said, I thought it was really interesting that
somebody knew something.
Well, what's interesting in the connections I made. Okay, so like the two things very similar. Jack Parsons looks just like Tony Stark's dad.
Yep.
Howard Stark.
Mm-hmm.
So then I think Jack Parsons died in like the 50s. Well, the Iron Man character is like from like the 40s. And so I'm not exactly sure when Howard Stark was introduced, but so his dad resembles this real person. Okay, so then you have Victor Von Doom, and then you have Werner Von Doom. Werner Von Braun is a real person. So like his dad, Tony Stark's dad, and then you have Von Doom's dad are they based on real people? It's just kind of, it's very strange. Like and again, these people would not have been like mainstream popular. So for them to base, it is one of those things.
Somebody on the inside of the cult.
There was a good comment in the comment section saying that I said, of course, at the end of the video, I was like, "You can't make this stuff up," or he's like, "Or you can," and they do, and I was like, you know what? Touche. That's a good point, because like, what if they did make this stuff up? Because it is like, it's so on the nose of like, this is just weird. I mean, it's either like, yeah, I mean, I guess it's the thing we always talk about, revelation of the method, all these kind of things like that. Is just like, is this demonic prophecy? Like, what in the world is this? But it's definitely weird. It's definitely weird.
It's definitely demonic prophecy, in my opinion. They always put it out in your face to make the prophecy goes forth, and then it's like you believe it, you receive it, you normalize to it, and then the thing happens, and then you don't think much of it because it's in your subconscious. Because here's the thing, like, prophecy works in a way that's like it's speaking, but it's also like a sensation and a feeling and an unctioning and a lot of times. So like, imagine you having a dream and you're like, I had a dream that this Werner Von Braun man is like satanic and evil. And then like then somebody with a prophetic dream has this dream and they tell their kid, I think the moon landing stuff is evil. The Werner Von Braun man, I think, is evil. And they're like, no, Mom, it's Werner Von Doom. You're getting it mixed up with my comic book stuff. Like, that's ridiculous, like, and so like it kind of gives like this fail safe space where it's like plausible deniability, or, oh no, that was from a movie. That's not what's really happening. Like, that's not real. It's not like that, see what I'm saying? Like, it kind of gives this sort of sponge space.
Well, ironically, in the Dr. Doom origin story, the dad was not bad. The dad was good. The dad did not do any witchcraft stuff. He was actually trying to prevent his son from doing witchcraft. So his dad was more the sciencey guy. So that's kind of interesting. It's actually like, so his mom was the witch, and she's the one who made a deal with the devil, got dragged to hell, and she was trying to, he told her last wish was that he keep their son safe. And so the dad went to go destroy all the magic stuff. There was like a trunk full of like magic relics and whatever witchcraft stuff. And he kept on trying to destroy it. And every time he destroyed it, he would find it back in the same place. And then so eventually, like, Von Doom found it, and the rest is history. And then in the same way, like, I don't know all the mythology of Howard Stark, but obviously Tony Stark's a good guy. Howard Stark was not a bad guy either, but they both worked for the government. So, so take that for what you will. But obviously Jack Parsons, the real story of Jack Parsons is like, yeah, this guy was like an occultist, big time Satanist, like straight up, like not even, again, it was funny. Even I had somebody saying like, so he was a Thelemite. So he was a disciple of Lester Crowley. And I called Lester Crowley a Satanist. And somebody says, no, he's not a Satanist. He was into Egyptian mysticism. I was like, the guy called himself the Beast 666.
Yeah, he called himself that. Well,
what do you call that?
That's funny because that's what he called himself, was the Beast 666. And so Thelemite, or it's also called a Thalarian, and that term means an animal-human hybrid.
Yeah, I remember I was saying like that he thought he was calling like in the new age, it was going to be like the age of Therion.
Yeah, Therions. Yep. Therion means the animal-human hybrid. Yeah. And so that's very fascinating. And the other thing is like it destroys the box and it keeps coming back. That's hilarious because like, dude, when you deal with like witchcraft stuff, like a lot of times it does stuff like that. Demons, like you'll destroy something, you'll throw it away and it will show back up at your house. Like it's crazy. Like the only way to really get rid of some of these things is like you got to burn it. Sometimes you have to like throw it in a fire. Like there's people that I've dealt with stuff where they've like got rid of things and they thought they smashed it and all of a sudden it's back. And they're like, are you kidding me? Like little statues and demon idols. I don't know how that happens. Like honestly, demons can bend some level of space or reality.
That sounds like something that's like a repeating theme in movies and stuff I've seen. I remember even like when I listened to, I think, or watched They Sold Their Souls for Rock and Roll. I think it was the guitarist or the bass player for Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne's band. He talked about they had this witchcraft book and he tried to get rid of it. And it was like, it was back like the next day. And then eventually like it wasn't there. And it was like a demon, like a literal demon was there. And I think that's what they were calling like this black kind of shadowy thing. And I think that's part of what the band's name came from.
Interesting. Well,
yeah. So guys, this stuff is like, it's strange. Like the whole thing is strange. I was kind of tripped out when I looked into the origin story of Dr. Doom and I had no idea how dark it was. Like, because it's like, he looks like Darth Vader. And that's kind of like what I kind of thought he was. But like, and kind of in the same kind of way, it's like in the first Star Wars movie, Darth Vader has this ancient religion and he's like, he's a mystic. So like in the same kind of way, that's exactly what Dr. Doom was. But Dr. Doom is earlier than Darth Vader, like much earlier, about, almost 20 years earlier. So it's, but of course, like Darth Vader comes from a galaxy far away, time long ago. And Dr. Doom is in like basically in the modern era. And he's like, it's straight up witchcraft. He's like, they're not even hiding. Like I said, I showed you the pictures of like pentagrams and everything. He's doing, he's literally calling upon Beelzebub, like straight up, like that in the comic books. And I was just like, I guess when you, like I said, when your mom says don't read that comic book, it's demonic.
Yeah, maybe she knew something.
Now I know why she said that. Sorry, Mom. I didn't know that stuff was real until I started reading it. But yeah. Well, anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the first JT's mixtape, and obviously I'll have Bryan on as often as he'll come on, and we'll try to do some more of this stuff. Maybe we'll do a live show every now and then. But if you guys got requests that we should review, try to make them YouTube appropriate. And you know what? Maybe just maybe I'm gonna put the unedited versions over on Rumble because why not? Because obviously this stuff is interesting, and I'm not really ashamed of anything we've talked about today. So. So why not? But anyways, guys, if you guys like this content, please like, share, subscribe. Obviously, once again, if you guys want to check out Demon Racers, all his links will be in the description. But we appreciate you guys. God bless y'all.